The following is an unpaid commercial video from Pandemic Industries in cooperation with Pinata Pictures.
In a world where the unexpected can happen at a moment's notice, when you may be called from the middle of a game of unstable unicorns to perform at your highest level of training, in a world where you may enter an environment so unpredictable that your very life is hanging on the line, you want nothing but the absolute best equipment protecting you from the chaos below.
How many times has this happened to you when attempting to remember how to tie the radium release hitch? Is it around 2 times and then a munter hitch? Who was Munter anyway? Well, worry no more, friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm here today with Chad the Rock Doc Walks, showing you all about something that's going to change your lives in a small, small way. In a big, big way. Who out there is tired of radium release hitches? I know I am. Right? Right? Well, I've got something for you. In the past, our only options for safety devices and rigging systems was your tandem, double, Prusik, something or other. Too old, too slow. Or you got the radium release hitch. Too complicated for me. Today, and today only, folks, I've got the opportunity of a lifetime for Castle Rock Fire Department. First of all, before I get there, let me ask the audience here, how much would you pay if you didn't ever have to deal with those things again? $3,000? $4,000? $5,000 a month? Well, for today, and today only, we're running a special on the revolutionary, the legendary, the luxurious and magnificent Petzl ASAP Zorber, to ASAP zorb all of the problems in your lives. Today, and today only, folks, for every engine company and or squad that purchases one of these, we will throw in an extra for a needy quint. For the low, low price of only, you will get the Petzl ASAP Zorber, to be shown in a moment, the ASAP Zorber Access for extra safety, plus the special limited edition red carabiner. And all of that, and your dreams will come true. Ladies and gentlemen, if you act today and today only, you will get a personal visit from Chad, the Rock Doc Walks.
Thank you very much, Zachary. Let's talk about the ASAP and a couple of the places we can apply the ASAP in our day-to-day use, both on an aerial device and as a standard belay. Now I just got to figure out where I put those things. Oh, here they are. We'll talk about the different pieces of the ASAP. Starting with this end, they call this the ASAP lock. It is just the model version of it. It is connected onto what they call the ASAP Zorber Access. And then at the end of some of them we have a carabiner, others just will have a loop that you'll have to add a carabiner onto. This Zorber Access essentially is webbing that has been wound back and forth and sewn onto itself, and the purpose of that is if this receives a shock load, that webbing will begin to tear the sewing seams apart, and this will stretch out up to a distance of 65 centimeters, absorbing some of that shock load. Once a shock load has been placed onto it and any bit of that webbing has stretched apart, this Zorber Access is out of service and we have to replace it. The Zorber Access version of this, there's a couple different versions you'll see on Petzl's website. This particular one is designed for a 2-person load. So we can have this in a vertical environment with a patient in a Stokes basket and a rescuer hanging off that Stokes basket, and this will have enough strength in it to protect a dynamic load onto a 2-person fall onto it. These red carabiners, you have to twist and turn to open simultaneously, and when you let go, they will automatically lock. You do not have to twist anything to lock them. They are a self-locking carabiner. Every suppression piece plus the squad will have one of these. The squad will have two of these, one in every single rigging bag. Initially, some will come with a red carabiner on the end of them. Some of them will come with no carabiner, so you'll just need to take one of yours and put it through this end. On the ASAP, there is a small arrow that says up. That points towards the load. We'll talk about another use for these in a different video about how you can use these to rappel with. For our purposes, it's going to be a belay device. So the arrow points towards the load. To load it, you pull back on the two yellow tabs and you slide the wheel out of the way. This allows the rope to fall into the channel, and then grab those two yellow tabs, put it back on the rope, so now it's locked in place. This initially will slide back and forth on the rope. It does have some very sharp teeth on it. It has been tested in numerous drop tests. It will not damage the rope itself by either rolling through it or if it does act as a belay. We'll show you how to connect it to your anchor in just a moment, but for this point, this is in here. If you pull on it real tight and fast, it will automatically lock itself. You release the weight and it'll slide right through again. There is a lock on this, and if you do engage the lock, you will not be able to pull it in the direction of the load, but it will ratchet itself back, kind of holding you in place. That is a feature that we use when we're using it as a belay during a rappel, and we'll talk about that at a later time. So typically in our operations, we will leave the lock off. And then to take this off of the rope, pull your two yellow tabs and just remove the rope from it. All right, let's take a look at putting this into action using the aerial as a high point. We've got a basket hitch here around the horizontal stabilizer at the base unit of the ladder. We're going to take our ASAP, we're going to clip it into that basket hitch. We're going to take our arrow, we're going to aim it towards the load. We're going to lay our belay line in. We will lock this. And now one of the key features of the ASAP is this rope needs to feed the ASAP from the top. So we're going to take a second carabiner. We're going to go into that same basket hitch, and then we're going to place that rope through that carabiner. Lock that carabiner up. Now, as this plays out, that carabiner up here will keep that rope directly in line with that ASAP, so there's no chance that it can get caught trying to make an angle going into it. When we want to pull up on the belay line, this does act like a small pulley where it will capture that ASAP and it will capture that rope as we begin to pull it through during a raising operation. If something happens in the main line during the raising, it's going to pull this out of our hand, and it's only going to stretch out as much as this absorber is, which is about the same distance. If we were going back to our tandem prusik belay, each time you pull out, you've got about 1.5 feet to 2 feet of distance that person can fall. It's about the same as it is here. Alternatively, if you don't like pulling it through that way, you can hold on to the ASAP and just pull the rope through during your raising portion of it. But there is proper rigging using this thing for a high point aerial as a belay.
And it's just that easy.
So during a lowering operation using the aerial as a high point, you will notice that the ASAP will automatically feed rope through without anyone having to mind it. You can see that it's being fed directly in by going through the carabiner at the top, and if there is a dynamic event on the main line, the ASAP will automatically engage itself, locking off and stopping that load from falling. So in a standard raising environment, the operator can stand directly beneath this, and as the load comes up, they just simply pull it through the ASAP. If there was some kind of dynamic event on that raising operation, it will pull out of that operator's hands, automatically engage, and capture the load. All right, let's look at using the ASAP with just a standard anchor in a kind of a normal belay situation. So we'll orient this again where the arrow is pointing towards the load. Drop our rope in. Clip this to our anchor. Take our secondary carabiner so that the ropes are aligned. Place it through. And now, during a lower, this will just automatically feed itself out and pull your belay rope. This doesn't even need a person necessarily to mind it. On the uphaul for this, I do think at this part it's going to be easier if one person kind of grasps this to keep it from sliding and pulls the rope through as that load is coming up. We have found that unless you want to put a pulley at this to redirect, which is fine, this is a fairly sharp angle for that rope to go through, and it just makes it a little bit difficult to pull that up. So either place a pulley there or grasp this and just pull the rope through as that rescuer's coming up. You may ask yourself, why is it we're adding a second carabiner there? Why don't we just put the rope through the red carabiner? And what we found during some of the initial testing of that is that if we place this carabiner, the rope through this carabiner, what we're seeing during a lower and a raise is as this rope rubs across this rubber padding here and rubs across this webbing, it begins to slowly eat through that, causing damage to it. And so instead of having excess damage on this equipment, we'll use that secondary carabiner or carabiner and a pulley to direct that so the rope is in line with the ASAP.
Chad, it sounds too good to be true.